We are coming to you live from Frank Springville Inn. Welcome to the Power Hour. I'm your host, Lauren Powers, and this is another session of season 1, and I'm so excited. This is just a really treat, you guys. Stay tuned for the full time because you never know what's going to happen when her and I get together. I promise you it will not be boring. We don't know what it's going to be, but it will not be boring.
Very, very true.
She's already laughing. We have so much fun. She's just amazing. And we'll talk about how we met. But I want to just welcome her to the show right now without any hesitation. Theresa Roemer, thank you all the way from Houston. Thanks for joining us on the Power Hour.
Yes, thank God for Zoom, right?
Right? I know. This lockdown thing is just getting pretty crazy.
I'm sure Zoom never thought they would be so famous.
You know, it's funny. I kind of make a joke. It's a bad joke, but I'm like, coronavirus brought to you by Zoom, right? Because it's just been so nuts. I live on this thing.
Right, but I mean, like literally, everybody used Zoom in the past. I mean, we all have, but it was sporadic. But now, like, I don't know if you own stock in Zoom, but you probably should.
Right? I thought of that too. Day one, I'm like, man, I better up my investment or something because this is crazy. We didn't know how long it was going to be, and it's still dragging on. But it is what it is. But thank goodness for it because we still get to have this connection. I can see you, and I see how fabulous you look. Of course, I saw Fab earlier, and you are just so exciting, and I'm just so thrilled. And I want to thank you again because the second we met, we were meant to meet. I saw you at a big charity function in Newport Beach, right? You walked by in this red dress. I remember just grabbing your bicep, whipping you around, and I'm like, hi. And it was instant connection immediately.
Well, and you have to tell people that we were actually social media friends.
Yes.
Before we ever met. So that's how we kind of knew of each other.
Well, our friend Katie had said, you have got to meet my friend Theresa. You guys are like so much alike. You're going to love her. She's been fitness. We have the same kind of backgrounds and all this stuff. And so when I saw you, I'm like, boom. But I'll never forget when you and I were talking and that guy came up to us and he's like, you two can I ask you guys a question or something? Remember? And he goes, can I tell you something? You guys are the most fabulous women in the room or something like that, right? And I'm like, can I tell you something? You have amazing taste. And then I knew right then you loved me. That was so funny. I just came right out of my mouth. We gotta have fun at these things, right? There was 400 people in the room with all their black tie, and it was a great fundraiser. But we made it more fun, I'm for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun time. Definitely.
That was our first face-to-face, and now here we are. You're on my show. Our audience is female experts and entrepreneurs that want to learn tips and tricks from all my experts. On the whole title of the show is How to Be Healthy, Wealthy, which is your specialty, and happy. So you are all three. So that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to have Theresa.
Yes.
You are definitely all three things because if one side falls of the triangle, you know what I mean? It falls out of balance in your
and especially right now during this coronavirus, your health is your wealth,
Thank you for saying that. That is my platform. Right? It's so true. Like if you didn't feel good, how would you do anything that you do? You're out, having some shopping.
Right, but I'm just saying, they're saying that the people that are dying from the coronavirus are people with underlying health issues. So this should be a huge wake-up call, Lauren, because 20-some years ago, I was so on board with how obesity was on the rise then, and now here we are 20-some years later, and it's even more out of control. And I've always told people, you don't want to have any underlying health issues. If you've got high blood pressure, don't take a pill for it. You need to go figure out what's causing that high blood pressure. Is it your diet? Is it your exercise? Like, what is it? So now more than ever, this should be a huge wake-up call to the people in the United States, if not all over the world, to get their health in check.
Right? Exactly. I know. I've been preaching this just like you alongside this thing, and people didn't take it too serious. They're so busy, and that's why my focus is helping women, especially entrepreneurs, because I find so many women, they tend to build their business and put so much emphasis on their kids and their husband, and all these things are their top priorities instead of themselves, and they always put themselves last.
Yeah.
So my whole mission and purpose is to switch that mindset, make sure that these women are putting themselves first, because everyone else around them is going to suffer if they go down for any reason, especially now, like you said, with the virus. It's just crazy. We have got to wake up. And I think this is great hearing it from you because you get it. You've been getting it. You live your life like it. Look at how healthy and wealthy and happy you are. I mean, let's just go there. I mean, it's true. And
right.
but you've always put your health first. And I think that is definitely a message that we want to relate it to our viewers, because
right.
it's just so important. And we tend to lose that.
No, it totally is. And I've told people, you could be the wealthiest person in the world, but if you're obese or you've got all these health problems, who cares how much money you have? You can't go out and enjoy yourself. You can't travel. You can't do this because you're so sick or you're bedbound or whatever, So I've always preached my whole entire life, from the minute I found out I was a sickly little kid. I was not going to let doctors tell me how I was going to live my life. They wanted to keep me in bed and keep me bedridden. And
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's that story about? Let's go.
Well, so as a child, I contracted strep throat, which then led to rheumatic fever. And so I had rheumatic fever 4 different times as a child, which left me with a heart murmur. And so I was told as a child in Omaha, Nebraska at the Children's Hospital that I would always be a sickly little child, that I would never get to be a normal child. I wouldn't get to go outside and run and play. I would definitely never get to become a mother, that childbirth would be too taxing on my heart. I mean, they pretty much wrote me off as a child. And so I actually got into health and fitness, I would say almost by accident, because I didn't want to be that sickly little kid. And so I went against everybody's rules, and I just escaped outside, and I ran and I climbed trees, and I did everything humanly possible, which then turned me into an athlete, which then turned me into a world-class athlete, which then in turn put me into the health and fitness industry, which, right with you, personal training and competing and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I went on to become a mother and have children. And so, by the time I was 18, they said to me, you have strengthened your heart so much, we can hardly call you a heart patient anymore, because we can only hear the heart murmur at like 180 beats per minute. So to this day, I'm in my 50s. We're pretty much the same age, I think. Mm-hmm. I have no calcium buildup in my arteries and my heart.
Fabulous. 50 and fabulous.
Yeah. But I mean, I've had heart scans done, and they're like, for a woman your age, you should have some calcium buildup in your heart and all this kind of stuff. You have nothing. You are so incredibly healthy. And so, but my whole life I've been in health and fitness, and people will say to me to this day, do you really work out every single day? And I'm like, yeah, don't you brush your teeth every day? I mean, it's something that I've done so much every single day of my life that I wouldn't know how to act differently.
I love that. That makes total sense. It's called lifestyle, right? It's part of routine. You just added it in, and it is what it is. But here you are today to say and tell other people, hey, this is important. This is priority. This is my life. And you chose this. Like, you sourced health went against all odds. I didn't know anything about that, Theresa. This is amazing. Everybody has a story, but this clearly is a huge story, because some kids, you could have fell into that mindset of like, I'm going to be sick my whole life, which a lot of people do, right?
People do it all the time. I've been in the health and fitness industry for over 35 years. And, I can't tell you how many people or kids that I run into that are extremely overweight or morbidly obese. And I would say, I would get conversations with them, and they're like, well, it's just this way, my family's this way, so I'm going to be this way. And I'm like, no, I've always said to people, you don't have to become a victim. You need to become a victor. And so you don't have to be what your surroundings are. You can take a kid that lives in the 5th ward or the 3rd ward or in poverty, you can take them out and lo and behold, they can turn into doctors and lawyers and everything too. But most of them think, this is my surroundings, so I'm going to have to be what my surroundings are. So I'm going to become a drug dealer. I'm going to become this. I'm going to become that. And I always tell people, no, I'm a perfect example of being told that I would always be sick and I would never get to do anything I wanted to do in life. And as a child, I said,
Right. Read between the lines. But wow, that is amazing. Look at you now. I mean, let's talk a little bit about people that don't know you. I mean, I know you, I didn't know this, but give us some background, because we'll have your bio and all that in the emails. But I want people to get to know you and behind the scenes and maybe what's not in your bio and what maybe I didn't know, another story, because this is amazing already.
Right, right. And so not only did I overcome that, then of course I was mentally, verbally, and physically abused by my mother as a child, and then I was sexually molested by my grandfather also. So that right there would put even more kids like in a deep hole, And then my first marriage, I found out on my honeymoon night that my husband was abusive. He hit me for the very first time on my honeymoon night. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. I was always hit and abused by my mother. Maybe this is supposed to be normal too. Until 7 years later, I almost died in a closet one night, getting the crap beat out of me. So, I've been able to overcome sickness and bad health. I've overcome physical, mental, and verbal abuse by my mother. I've overcome being sexually molested by a grandfather. I've overcome domestic violence in a marriage. I mean, then I've lost my brother, I've lost my son, I've lost my dad, all to death, so.
Oh my goodness.
For most people, they would be like, oh, look at her. She's got everything. She doesn't have a care in the world. And yet you don't know my background. You don't know my story. And I'm sharing it with you today. But, everyone has a story. Absolutely. Everyone's got a past. And you shouldn't always just look at what the exterior of someone is right now and not know that they've had a battle somewhere along the way also.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I talk about that in my book too. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, we don't know the story. Mm-hmm. And like what you just said would have taken anybody out, just one of those things, and you have a whole slew. But look at, it's made you the powerhouse that you are today, where you could actually share your message and your past to inspire and motivate others that they can get through this stuff. Because right. Look at your life now. I mean, that on the outside, like you said, it's so amazing, but this is probably why you're so humble, because you've been through these things. And so now that that mess has become your message, is what I like to say. And it's become your story to be fabulous though. Right. This is so amazing. I had no idea you've been through all of these things. I really didn't. So this is amazing that you're so open to share with us. Have you written this in your books? Because I know you've written a few books.
Yeah, a little bit of this is shared in one of my last books, Naked in 30 Days. I touch base on some of this, but not all of it. No, I'm in the process of writing another book, basically about my life. So, yeah. But I don't believe anything in life happens randomly or.
There's no coincidence.
No, I think everything that has happened to me in my life happened for a reason. Absolutely. And it was to only make me who I am today, and I'm still evolving and I'm still growing, but I believe my strength and my confidence and my ableness to make it through anything is because of everything I've had to go through.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that list is pretty intensive. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Oh yeah. It's enough to make anybody want to go, crawl in a corner and just, be on drugs the rest of their lives to just be numb, but I remember when my son was killed in the car accident, a doctor said to me, I'm going to put you on some antidepressants. And I said, no, you're not. I said, I don't want to be numb for God knows how many years and then wake up someday and have to deal with this pain. I said, I would rather deal with the pain right now and work through it and come out on the other side, And so even then I was like, no, my son has died. I can either deal with the pain now or I can stay numb for God knows years. And then maybe someday come off the drugs and still have to deal with the pain. It was going to be there, So,
absolutely.
I always try to tell people that whatever you're going through, you need to face it head on and charge through it, because once you get to the other side, it's not so bad.
Wow. You guys listen to that, because that is really a powerful statement. It really is, that you can actually get through anything, but you set their mindset and you're so powerful from all your experiences. I mean, they're just events. And I'm like in a leadership program right now, and they teach you that an event is neutral. It's how we perceive it and how we handle it and how we choose to go forward in this. You could have been stuck so easily by just that. That would have taken anybody out, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not you, baby. Not you.
Wow. And and it was quite interesting because I can remember at my son's funeral, this woman, she had lost her daughter, and she just seemed so at peace and so happy. And I thought, I will never be like you. Like, I have just lost my son, my baby.
Right.
But now looking back at this woman, it was her faith in God.
Mm.
And it was the fact that she wasn't going to sit around and have a pity party, because there's people out there every day that are going through tragedies, and what makes your tragedy so much worse than somebody else's, And I always try to tell people, just when you think your story is the worst, you're going to find somebody else with a worse story.
Absolutely.
So, right. But yeah, so.
That's where the comparing thing comes in. It's like like you said, you should never compare yourself to anyone because you don't know their backstory. We just don't know. So there's always someone that's going to have more tragic things. There's always going to be someone that has it more. Like, you know what I mean? Even with wealth, you know what I mean? Just when you think you're wealthy, there's people that are wealthier, but then there's people that are poorer. So it's like,
right.
It's so important to be content and from the inside.
Yes.
You are just exude that. You do, because you've chosen your life and you absolutely have not let anything take you down. Clearly. I mean, you're the most powerhouse. I have even more respect for you now. I'm like, oh my gosh. No, really. I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, we met, like at events and all these things, and you flew out for my birthday. You were here, and that's a whole nother story. On a lighter note. If you guys don't know, there's Theresa Roemer, who has literally known for the largest closet in the world, right? It's 3 stories. I don't know how many square feet, but it's just insane. It's been on Good Morning America. It's everywhere. It's all over YouTube. Right. You can Google it, check it out. You have to see this thing. I mean, so I picked her up on Rodeo Drive, and every designer is there in Beverly Hills, right? I'm like, I pull over Pretty Woman. I'm like, how much? Get in. And I go, these are all your friends, Gucci, Chanel, everyone was there. Everybody's all your top designers. And she's just laughing. And we just laughed the entire night. It was so much fun. I literally got ready out of my trunk of my car. You have the largest closet. Here's my closet, my little Mercedes.
Literally, she opened her trunk, and there was this closet full of clothes in her trunk, and she's changing clothes right there.
I'm
laughing my ass off. I'm like, oh my God! Look how much clothes you have in your trunk.
You got to be ready for anything, girl. I run hard and fast, so I didn't know we were going to end up at Pump, Lisa Vanderpump's thing, when she ended up coming in. We saw her. That was so fun on my birthday, and then we went to Sir, remember? And your feet hurt so bad, so I'm carrying you on my back, literally on the red carpet. And I'm like, my shoes are $10 and yours are $10,000, and who's carrying who? It's all relative, right?
Right.
That's that comparing thing. It doesn't matter.
Well, and I was wearing a brand new pair of, I think they were Louis Vuitton boots.
They were. Yes, they're in the picture. Louis Vuitton,
my feet were so sore because they were brand new shoes, and I'd been in them all day. And so
filming all over Beverly Hills.
My feet were killing me. I'd been filming all day long, and you were like, here, jump on my back. I'll give you a ride.
What are friends for, right? I literally carried you on my back, right? That's connection. We just have to have fun. I mean, that's the thing. It's that's where the happiness piece comes in. Because without our health, we're both healthy, and we just live this great life because we choose to.
Yeah.
It's all relative. You and I can laugh for hours on these things. And, quarantine, I'm like, oh, you poor thing. And you're like, gazillion square foot home. Your dogs have 2 million acres to run around. It's we just laugh. It's just all relative. I'm telling my dog, I'm like, she only has this big of a.
I know. I was like, oh my God, look at my puppies. They're out there running on their 2 acres, and she's like, 2 acres.
Exactly. I'm like, you poor thing. But you know what? But see again, but you've chose this, and you've sourced the life that you lead. And so I think it's so inspiring because anybody can have that. Yeah. You know what I mean? We shouldn't judge you because you have all this. I think it's fantastic. It's fabulous because look what you've gone through. If anybody's so deserving, I mean, you are worth it. Your life matters, and you are worth it, and you chose that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, with all the grief and devastation and I think you've hit everything there is to happen to somebody.
I know.
She's like, that's a bucket list of like horrible things that happen. Been there, like you've been there, done that literally. But then again, that's your power. I think.
Right. I mean, and when I stop to think about it, I'm like, okay, I think I've checked off every box there is when it comes to horribleness. And just sometimes when I think I've done it all and experienced every horrible thing, something else pops up. So
be careful what you ask for, right?
right. But my thought is, you know what? I'm going to grab it by the horns and I'm going to deal with it and I'll get through it and I'll be on the other side. You know, because you have to remember, we're only here once. We're only here once. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is the real deal. Right. You know, and so my thought is I am going to go clear up till the day I slide into my coffin, you know, going 100 miles an hour and experiencing everything I can, because
why not?
I'm not going to be that person that's sitting there in their little rocking chair going, oh my God, I wished I would have. But I was so depressed because of this that I didn't do it. You know, I was just like, no, I've got to meet it head on, tackle it, and come out on the other side and keep living this amazing life that God has given me to experience, you know?
That's so well said. This is why I just love you. I mean, we have the same mindset. What's true is people are like, you're going to be flying on your Harley sideways, man, when you go down. Like, come on, you know, head on. It's like people like, you just do everything you want. I'm like, absolutely, because I can. Why not? Why wouldn't I?
The only person that's standing in your way of succeeding at anything you want to do is yourself. So, you know, get your ass out of the way and get out there and do it. You know, I do coaching calls, and I have, you know, this girl, I was on a coaching call yesterday with her from Zurich, Switzerland. And I said, why haven't you done any of this? And she's like, I don't know, I'm scared. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Like, get your ass out of your way and let's make this happen, girl, you know? And so, but that's the whole thing. And that comes back to this coronavirus, you know, the fear of the unknown. That's why people are in their houses, cowered in the corner, because it's the fear of the unknown. They're like, oh, but if I leave my house, what's going to happen? You know, and it's like
life. Look at me. I drove to Springville in.
Right, but it's like, what do you mean what's going to happen? You're going to get outside, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D from the sun, and you're going to live your life. You know, you need to be more cautious. You need to be more careful, whatever, but the coronavirus ain't going away, and so we need to just get on with life, you know? But that's the reason most people don't accomplish what they want in life, is because the fear of the unknown. You know, what if I don't succeed? What if I fail?
So what?
Failure at least means you were trying.
Like Oprah says, fail forward. There's no such thing as
right. You know, and in my book, I'm like, at least failure is telling me that you're trying. And failure, there's nothing wrong with it. Failure just means you're going to try again. Like most people that are famous for doing anything in this world have had so much failure in their life, but they never let it stop them. They just kept trudging forward because they had a vision, and they kept plunging forward for it. Just like, I'm going to accomplish it. You know, I can remember standing in Beverly Hills, California at the age of almost 16, taking pictures of mansions. And my mother kept saying, what are you doing? Why are you taking pictures of all these homes? And I said, because I'm going to live in one just like this someday.
Yes.
And she laughed at me, you know. Now, I didn't know at what time in my life I would live in a house like that, but I was just like, I'm going to be rich someday, and I'm going to live in a mansion someday. And no matter what happened to me in life, I kept taking those steps. And whether it was in my 20s when I lived in a 3,000 square foot house, or when I in my 40s lived in this size house, or whatever, you know, I just kept going forward because that was one of my goals. That was one of my visions, and I was going to continue to work towards it. And when I sold all my health clubs and became a millionaire, I was like, okay, check. Okay. You know, and when I bought my very first mansion and upgraded to another mansion and upgraded to this mansion, you know, I'm just like, you don't know when those things are going to happen for you in life that you have in your brain as a goal, but you have to continue to work for them. You know, I'm in my 50s living my best life.
Yes.
Because I've never let anybody stand in my way or tell me otherwise.
Exactly.
And people say, okay, well, you're rich and you have this and well, so why do you still work? And I'm like, why not? You can never be too rich. If you're a millionaire, you want to be a billionaire, just because I mean, like, I will work till the day I die because I like to work. Because when you're passionate about what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
There you go. Good statement. Write that down, you guys. Write that down. That's a huge thing.
So every day I wake up and I have fun. I have fun doing what I do. And so it never feels like I'm actually working.
You love it. You love the hair and makeup and the production and the film. Well, tell us about that. You shared with me about some other show you're working on, or some exciting.
I can't share much, but
just a little speak.
A few years ago, I had my own. A few years ago, I had my own show in 2012, 2013 called Win and Roemer. And unfortunately, because of some horrible stuff from a family member, which we now have a restraining order against, I lost that show because we couldn't film anymore because of the restraining orders. And so, you know as well as I know, with production companies and TV networks, once you kind of get crossways with them, they kind of blackball your name a little bit, like, oh, don't work with her. Yeah. And so because we had been sold to a network, it didn't unfold very nice. But I was told, time will become your best friend. So I never lost track of that goal of, I'm going to be on a TV show. I'm going to be.
Of course you are. I believe you.
Now I have been on many different TV shows. I mean, I was on Married to Medicine Houston. I was featured on a couple other shows. I've been on every news network ever.
Ever.
But I've continued to strive for that goal of either having my own show or being on a show. I was actually picked for the cast of Real Housewives of Houston, but they ended up picking up Dallas instead of Houston. I said, that's okay. And so right now I'm working with two different production companies. One I've signed a participation agreement with.
Okay.
So can't tell you a lot about it, but they're supposed to be filming as soon as all of this gets lifted. So we'll see what happens. And supposedly it's already picked up by a network.
Nice.
And then I'm also working with another,
That's a big deal. I get it.
Yeah. And then I'm working with another production company that wants to do a show about me and my life. So, I always tell people, don't let anybody say that you're too old. Don't let anybody say that your idea is stupid or it's never going to happen. As long as you want it to happen in your life, you will make it happen.
Again, you heard it from the queen right there. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm learning so much from you because it's true. I mean, you just don't let anything stop you. And I think that's the underlining message. Just set yourself and your eye on the tiger, and just go for it. And don't let all this outside stuff called life stop you. Even this virus thing, it's not stopping you. You got cameras every day on you. You just did a production before our call today.
Right.
Nothing stops you because you set your mind to it and you are sourcing it. You are making it happen no matter what.
Right. And as well as I do from our bodybuilding years, when you're a competitor and when you're especially in bodybuilding, you have to be very stingy, selfish, and focused, because between your workouts and your eating,
that's great. There's nothing else, right?
Because you have to. You literally have to live, eat, and breathe that goal. And, I can remember when I was a competitor, I was single. Like, nobody even wanted to date me because they thought I was boring. Because, you can't go out and eat. You can't go to the movies. You can't go out drinking. You can't. I'm like, nope, can't. Sorry, But I mean, so I don't know if it all happened as a child or if it got even more so as a competitor, as an athlete, But you learn how to. For me, it helps me meet my goals. I have this whole entire chalkboard wall over here that keeps me focused because I tend to want to go in 400 different directions. But you have to you got to get the eye of the tiger. When you want something so bad, you literally have to get the eye of the tiger and say, I am not going to let anything derail me. Nothing.
Perfect. Perfect. And people that, you know, successful people, they have that same mindset. They set the goal, they vision it, they declare it, they write it down, they source it, and then they create a team around them. I know you have a lot of people that help you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm bringing in hair people and makeup people. I love it. Like, again, nothing stops you. Not even a crazy virus can stop you. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, but once again, to me, when we're talking about the coronavirus, you know, I think being prepared is more important than anything else. You know, I think number one, having your health in check, but number two, making sure you're doing everything to prevent it from even getting to you. You know, besides the washing of the hands and the disinfectants and all that kind of stuff, you know, people need to realize, and it comes from healthy people like you and me, that you have to take vitamin C and vitamin D and vitamin A and zinc. You need to take these precautionary items to help build your defense up so that when that coronavirus wants to attack you, it's like ping, 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 ping. You know, it's like a shield, and you're saying, oh, no, you're not, you know. So that's the other part, you know, with our society being so obese and so unhealthy with all these underlying health issues, and they all rely on a pill to make them feel better or whatever, you know, they know nothing about nutrition and health and wellness. And that's right there. If you can be healthy and have your weight in check and make sure you don't have all these underlying health issues, and if you're taking the right supplements, healthy, natural supplements, you'd be amazed at how you can fight off anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you feel better, you look better, you have more confidence, you can get on cameras, you can be a speaker, a coach, like whatever. Like a lot of people that we attract are female entrepreneurs that want to be visible and they want their voice heard and all these things, but they feel good. And that's, you know, that's the message from the inside out. And, you know, it's totally been my laser focus now too, to get that mindset going with a lot of my friends that, you know, they get so busy, like I said earlier, building their business that they forget about what? Themselves. Mm-hmm. And it's so critical. And you are a living example that you're out training every day, you're taking care of yourself, you're eating right, taking all the supplements and just doing all the right things. But you lead this insane, fabulous, healthy, wealthy, happy life. I mean, despite of everything you've experienced in your past. I mean, this is just amazing. This message is so powerful, Theresa. And I mean, I'm just in awe of you. But let's talk about more positive things now. What you're doing now. I mean, you got a show in the works. You've got books coming out. You're doing your YouTube. What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is The Life of an Influencer, Theresa Roemer. So it's basically just my life. You know, a few years ago, I was working with a firm out of New York City, and they said, you need to start a YouTube channel and share your life with people. People find you so fascinating. And I'm like, me? Fascinating?
Yes, you. Why not you? Of course you.
So I just picked up this camera and started, not even knowing what the hell I was doing. But I just got out there and started filming everything I was doing, and people were interested. People started following me. So I was like, well, okay, but if I'm not going to have my own TV show right now, I can at least put my life on YouTube. And
your own, you're doing it. Yeah.
Right.
See, nothing's stopping you. Again, nothing's stopping you. It's like you don't have a production company. You started your own. Like,
right.
Right. I love that. Why wait for Bravo when you can be on YouTube?
Exactly. And get paid. Yeah. Right.
And control the content. You get to control the content. You've got some crazy giveaways.
Exactly.
I don't know how many people are on your subscribers now? Like a lot.
I think I'm up to like 140,000. I'm not going to be happy till I hit 1 million or 2 or whatever, because I
of course not.
But yeah, so we film YouTube all the time, like you said. I mean, if a network's not going to be interested in me, then I'll just create my own, and there we went. So we have fun. I got a great assistant, Mr. Fabulous, and we're like 2 peas in a pod sometimes, I think. And maybe that happens the more you work together. I don't know, but he almost knows how to read my mind, and he's a great makeup artist, and so I'm trying to help him grow, and I'm kind of his second mother. But yeah, I mean, it's like you just, you can't let, when I lost my TV show, I could have very easily went, well, there you go. There was my one and only chance, and it got ruined. So, but I was like, no, no, I'm not going to let this person destroy something that I wanted so bad in my life. And so I've just let time be my best friend, and I've gone forward with my YouTube channel and everything that I do. And I was like, somebody's gonna find me again. It'll happen. And sure.
All the time. You're influencer for all these different products on Instagram. I mean, the whole world is watching you. I told you I was in a workout class at my local gym, and I told you one of my girlfriends comes up. She's like, "You remind me so much of this girl. I've been following her on YouTube. You guys, you're so much alike." Da, da, da. And I'm like, so she's from Texas. I'm like, oh, Theresa, remember? And she's like, you know her? And I'm like, know her. She's flying in for my book launch. And she's like, I go, you have to be there. And so remember, I sat her at your table, and she was so thrilled. And she's like, I can't believe you know her. And I'm like, of course I do. We were meant to be friends. And so, oh my gosh.
Right.
So awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so I still have my pillow line and my candle line. We've put the fitness wear line on the back shelf. We did a couple seasons of the fitness wear, but I wanted to, it seems like the fitness wear industry is kind of overly saturated with clothes and stuff. So I'm kind of putting that back on the back shelf now for a while, and focusing still on my candles and my pillows. And we're going to get ready to come out with a cosmetics line.
Really?
So,
do you have any candles or pillows there in your office that you can show us?
Yeah. I don't have a pillow here. I've got candles.
Bring her a pillow. Let's have some pillow talk. So, okay, that's one of your candles. Let me see.
Yes. So we've got 9 different scents. They're on my website, TheresaRoemer.com. This one's Naughty Moments by Santa.
Ooh. And one of your books is called what? Naked in 30 Days. What is it called?
My first romance novel is called Scoring with Santa. Now.
That's with Santa Claus, or what's your deal?
Well, so I don't want to give the whole premise of the book away, but Scoring with Santa is actually my life as a health club owner.
Okay.
So, I remember I was telling you I was single for 16 years, and most of that was during the time of owning health clubs. And so Scoring with Santa is I hire this Santa to be the Santa at my health club for Christmas. Well, that Santa, and I just don't want to tell you the whole book, but okay. Santa is the head coach of the high school, and he works out in the gym, and he trains some of the kids at the gym. Well, he says that he's never going to date a woman with kids, and of course me, is a divorced mother with 2 children. Of course, one night she hears water running, so the gym is closed. She goes into the locker room, and he's naked in the shower, and the romance begins.
Wow.
So
that's quite a story.
And this book is better than 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, it's nasty good. Like, it's so good. But anyways, towards the end of the book, she ends up having him be Santa Claus for the health club. So that's why the book is called Scoring with Santa.
Okay, and your candles have Santa in it? Naughty with Santa. What was it again?
Naughty Moments with Santa.
There you go. Okay.
So yeah, I've got a romance novel called Scoring with Santa. My first book ever I wrote was Nude, Unveiling Your Inner Beauty and Sensuality, which is kind of like a self-help book. And then Naked in 30 Days, where you can get literally naked in 30 days. And naked doesn't necessarily have to be like get naked. It could be like peel back the layers of all the problems that you have and that you've carried with you your whole life, like peeling a banana back and letting yourself become naked and vulnerable.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. Do we get to get a free book or something from you as far as a gift to our viewers?
Yeah.
Who's your host?
Yeah. Have I ever sent you a book?
I'm intrigued. No, I don't have that book.
Oh my God, I need to get you a book. Yes. We should.
So if you want to, because for the audience too, like if you want to do any free giveaways or whatever you want.
How many do you need?
Whoever subscribes to the show. If it's a free digital copy or whatever you want to give away, because a lot of my experts are giving away either whether it's coaching or strategy calls or their books or whatever you want to come up with. Sandra Yancey was on here. She gave away her like how to monetize your programs. It's a 7-module gift. Like everybody's coming up with something. So you're so generous. So whatever you want to give to the audience.
Yeah. We'll do books. Yeah.
Books are always good.
Oh, yeah.
So which one? The Naked?
Naked in 30 Days?
Perfect. Yeah. So it's like a letting go of all this stuff that we've been carrying for years. Mm-hmm. Like taking shields of armor off, right? And then I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, like in the book, there's also some fitness. There's also some good eating plans. And then there's a lot of emotional, so it's a very well-rounded book.
I love it.
And that's when and for the cover, or for the backside, I guess, the back of the book, I literally stood naked in Times Square.
You're killing me.
So, yeah, so I remember the publisher, they said, for this book, we need you to stand naked in Times Square. And I said, and they said, well, we don't want the front view. We need the back view. So literally, I walked into Times Square naked with a mink fur coat on, and when the photographer said drop it, I dropped it. And he got the back side, but of course everybody else got the front side.
Wow!
And I remember the photographer having this conversation with me. He said, "Okay, so one of two things is going to happen that day, and I need you to be prepared for either or both."
Get arrested.
He said, number one, you could get arrested because even though you can show your breasts, you can't show your vajayjay.
Right.
And I said, well, I could wear pasties. And he said, well, if you're going to be on a talk show and say, oh, yes, I was definitely naked. Yeah, I was totally 100% naked. And somebody produces a picture of you with pasties on, now you're a liar. So if you're going to be naked, you got to be naked. And I'm like, cool, I'm okay with it. He said, well, now I need you to make sure your family's okay with it. Because even though we only want the backside picture, everybody's got a phone in New York, and somebody's going to get a front side picture, and it's going to end up on the internet, and your family has to be okay with that. So I had this discussion with my family, my daughter, my husband, and everything, and I said, are you guys all okay with this? Oh, yeah, no big deal. Well, lo and behold, a month after I came home from New York from doing it, my husband comes home from playing golf, and he said, oh my God, look at what all the guys are seeing on the golf course. And I said, don't you remember me having this conversation with you? And you said you were okay. So you need to look at those men and say, yeah, you're damn right, that's my wife.
Exactly. Be proud of it, right?
Yeah.
I bet you their wives don't do stuff like that. I guarantee it. Because who does? You. Oh my gosh, I've done something similar to that. I wasn't naked, but I dressed up as a full Wonder Woman costume. They flew me out for the Tyra Banks show, and I was one of her celebrity guests on Tyra, which was awesome. And so for fun, I went out and I had the ice bucket for a tip jar and went out and started hanging out. People were giving me tips and stuff. And the naked guitar lady, she got so mad at me. She's like, you have to go somewhere else. This is my street. Like, I'm like, sweetheart, I don't even live here. Don't worry about it. I'm not taking your job. And oh my gosh, I'm taking pictures. I got pictures with the police officers. And I mean, it was really fun just being this character just for a couple hours. I had a whole bucket full of money. It was like amazing.
Yeah.
You can be creative, but I wasn't naked. It was the naked cowgirl and then the naked cow guy. I think they're still out there with their nakedness.
Yeah.
Not really, not like you. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, any more crazy stories? This is fun. See, I told you guys this would not be boring. I told you. I had no idea what we're going to talk about. This is how I roll because I like being authentic, just speaking from the heart, just being, just whatever comes, and whatever's supposed to be. Like you said, there are no mistakes or coincidence or anything. Nothing's by accident.
And I did almost die when I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. It was a fundraising event, and I was serving on the board of directors for Child Legacy International, where we go over to Africa and we drill water wells for the remote villages of Malawi, Africa. And of course, that needs funding. And so we were raising money. And so I'd raised $100,000 telling the people of Houston, Texas that I would climb Mount Kilimanjaro, that I would get to the top. So I flew over. I asked my husband to do it with me. And he said, no, unless it involves bourbon or a bed and a TV, I'm not going. But he said, I will meet you in the Seychelles afterwards. He said, I'll meet you in the Seychelles afterwards and celebrate your victory. And I said, okay. So I flew over, and for a whole week prior to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, we drilled water wells in these remote villages. And you have to remember, this was just a few years after I'd lost my son. So I kept telling my husband, if I come home with a little black baby, it's okay. Like, if Madonna can do it, I can do it. You know?
It's the hair even. Look at you.
And so now I'm in these villages, and, you know, they live in these little huts with dirt floors, no running water, no, you know, the campfire is in the middle of the floor. All these little kids just have bugs crawling all over them and snotty noses. And I'm just like hugging on them and kissing them. Well, unbeknownst to me, I picked up a parasite. Did not know it until I'm on day 3 of the mountain. And on day 3, the parasite started rearing its ugly head with diarrhea. And I kept thinking to myself, if I tell them I'm sick, they're going to make me go down. Because, you know, if you're sick, you can't climb. You can't.
Right. Well, yeah. Hello.
I kept it to myself. So I kept it to myself the whole time and everything. And now it's getting worse and worse. And we are at base camp, and we get there like at 3 p.m. They make us eat, and then they tell us to go to sleep for a few hours. They're going to wake us up at midnight, and we're going to summit. Well, I couldn't sleep. I was in the bathroom every 5 seconds, and now the fever has set in. I'm just shaking like a leaf. I'm freezing to death. So we finally get all bundled up. We get our headlamps on, and we start to summit. And my girlfriend from Jackson Hole, Wyoming, was with me, and we're about a fourth of the way up. We'd only been going for about 3 or 4 hours probably. And we stopped because when you have to go to the bathroom, you have to get off the trail, and it's in the dark. You've got to have somebody with you. And so you got to try to peel off, 7 layers of thermal underwear, your ski suit, and everything. And I'm having to get off the trail every 10 minutes, I swear to God, And so the whole time everybody else was carb loading, mine was going straight through me. So now I'm already weak also, right? So we get off the trail.
It's like this crazy.
It's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. And
there you are. Not. Of course.
So we get off the trail, and my girlfriend's headlamp hits me, and she's like, "Oh my God, something's wrong with you. There is blood everywhere. Like, blood is coming out of your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your butt, everywhere."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really sick." And she's like, "We have to tell them." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to go down." So she went and found the head guide, and he came over. Now he thinks I just got sick. And I'm like, "No, dude, I've been sick for a couple days." Like
Pushing through.
So he makes the other group, because we have a group of us, he makes everybody else go, and he stays back with me because now we're going to have to go slower because I'm so sick, and I'm not going down, right? So now everyone else
mindset. You're like laser focused.
Everyone else summits somewhere around 7 in the morning, right when the sun was coming up. I didn't summit till like 9:35 or 9:38, something like that. And I'm so weak, and it's taken me so long to get up there that now high altitude sickness has kicked in. So now I'm breathing like Darth Vader, it's like, And we finally summit, and I look at him and I said, "Okay, I gave you everything I had. I don't have anything left. You're going to have to call and get a helicopter to come get us." And he's like, "Honey, helicopters don't fly this high. We've got to go down. You've got to." I said, "I can't." He said, "You've got to." And he wrapped his arm in mine, and he just started dragging me. And I think he realized I was dying, because the farther down we went, I should have been getting warmer because we were getting away from all the glaciers, but I was getting colder and colder.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember when I was at the top, I kept praying to my son, who's in heaven. And I kept praying to him, and I kept saying, baby, mommy needs your angel wings. Mommy needs your help right now. I said I would do this. I'm not going to go home until I've done it. Please. I'm like, I prayed for my son to help me. And when I got to base camp, I was out of it. I was comatose at that point. He was dragging me. They thought I had died, and they'd set another team up to come find us because they seriously thought I'd died. When I woke up the next morning in the hospital, the doctor said, there's no reason why you're alive. He said, statistically, you should have died on that mountain. We don't know why you're alive.
Your son.
So when they got me to base camp, they literally had this, I guess, flat wheelbarrow looking cot thing. I guess it looked like it came out of the Flintstone era. I don't know. But they literally threw me on that and packed like sleeping bags on top of me and whatever. They ran six Kenyan runners ran with me for 8 straight hours.
What?
They left base camp at 3 p.m. They got to the gate somewhere around 10 o'clock at night where there was an ambulance waiting for me. I had 104 fever. I was severely dehydrated. I'd lost 13 pounds, high altitude sickness, parasite. They said I looked like I'd been in a car accident with so much blood. When I woke up the next morning, this gentleman that I had met when I first got to Malawi to drill the water wells, because you got to remember when I flew over there, I came from Texas, so I had my hair all curled and makeup and everything. Oh. So when I arrived in Malawi at the camp, I kind of looked like Barbie, I guess. But the one guy, when he was this electrician that was there donating his time from Arizona, they introduced me to him, and he goes, "Who invited Barbie?" Kind of like
judged you.
And probably thought, this chick's never going to make it up that mountain,
Right.
And guess who was sitting beside my bed when I woke up that morning? That man.
That guy, yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I ran down that mountain with those guys with you for 8 straight hours."
Aww.
Because I knew that when you arrived at this hospital, you were going to need somebody to be an advocate for you, because I've been with you. I know you, and I could tell them what was wrong and so on and so forth.
Wow.
And I'm like, you had just finished climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and you ran in your hiking boots for 8 straight hours with these guys. And he said, yeah, because if you would have been my wife, I would have hoped somebody else would have done that for my wife. So when I got out of the hospital, the only reason they let me out of the hospital was because they knew that I was going straight to the Seychelles to meet my husband. So they literally wheeled me out of the hospital into an ambulance to the airport, put me on the airplane, got me to the Seychelles, got me off the airplane, got me in an ambulance. The ambulance took me to the Four Seasons Hotel to meet my husband. But my husband said, "You throw as much money as you can at that man." I mean, like, he's a god for
life, yes.
And he wouldn't take any money. So literally when we got home from the Seychelles, which I had to stay in bed the whole time I was at the Seychelles. I couldn't even crawl to the toilet. My husband had to have the chef and the concierge guy come to our room, our house, little house, 3 times a day to cook meals and everything, because I was so sick. I was sick for like a couple months even after I got home. But when I got home, because he was from Sedona, Arizona, I got a whole week stay at this 5-star resort in Sedona, Arizona, room service, spa services, you name it, mailed everything to him. And he called me, him and his wife called me, and they were crying, and they were like, "Theresa, you didn't need to do this." And I said, "You didn't need to run down the mountain either, and you did."
Bingo. Wow.
And his wife said, "Do you know we've never even had a honeymoon?" And I said, "Well, there you go."
Aww. God, I'm going to cry. That's so crazy. Well, I'm glad
So once again, you get that eye of that tiger, and you don't let anything stop you. And I almost died because I didn't let anything stop me.
This is, talk about mindset. My gosh. Well, I'm so grateful for that guy too.
Yay! I made you cry.
Yeah, I know. I've been so vulnerable lately. I'm saying vulnerability is my new superpower. So I'm just staying open to that, to feel.
Yeah.
God,
yeah.
That's an amazing story.
And And I have to believe that my son
That's what I said. I already said that was your angel wings. So powerful. I mean, we have to have faith. That's our number one thing. Faith and then health, right? Those are the priorities.
Yeah.
You know? Oh my goodness.
I'm a tough cookie.
You think? Amazing. But look at that. Again, all your experiences and your past journey has led you to get off that mountain alive.
Right.
Anybody else, that would have been obviously.
But I told that guy when he was sitting by my bed, I said, "Oh my God, you're my hero." And he goes, "No, you're my hero." He said, "I don't know anybody as tough as you." And he said, "I judged you the minute I saw you walk in." And he said, "I should have never judged you because you are one tough mother."
You're a badass baby. This is why I love you. Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful for him too. Now you're my friend. Oh my goodness. What a story. See, you guys, I told you this would not be anything but amazing and behind the scenes stuff that people don't get to see and know you. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know if I could take much more. Personally, oh my gosh, I'm a wreck. My
but what was so amazing is leading up to that trip over there, I kept bugging my husband because that's the summer before we had spent a month in Europe, and one of my friends had this Rolls Royce that he drove us around in all the time. And so from that minute on, I kept saying to my husband, "Oh my God, I want a car like that. I got to have that car." And he would be like, "You don't need that car. We don't need another car." And
you wanted it.
A month. And so every time I would turn around, I would say, "Hey, I found a car like that in Florida. Ooh, here's another one in Newport Beach." You know, I was constantly finding them, and he'd be like, "I don't care. I don't care." Well, a month after we came home from Mount Kilimanjaro and the Seychelles, we were sitting at home one evening, and it was dark. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And the doorbell rang, and I thought, oh, it must be a neighbor because we live in a gated, guarded communities, and they hadn't called us to say somebody was coming through the gate. So I go to the door in my pajamas, you know, and the guy goes, "Are you Theresa Roemer?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Here you go. Happy birthday." And he drops a set of keys in my hand. And I'm like, "What?" I said, "I don't want to be making no car payments." And he's like, "No, your husband already paid for it. Happy birthday." And he stepped out of the way, and there was that Rolls Royce. And I was like, "Oh my God." And I said, "Geez, I almost had to die on a mountain to get this car."
Literally.
And so that's why to this day, I still can't get rid of that car because that car represents
your life.
Me almost dying on a mountain to get that car because my husband said, you know, because you got to remember, he's in the Seychelles. He doesn't even know I'm dying on a mountain. He's sitting in the Seychelles waiting on me, you know? And so he said, it just made me realize how incredibly short life could be. You know, I almost lost you on a mountain. So if this car is what you want, I'm going to give it to you.
Love it. So I have one ask. When I come visit you to see your amazing mansion with the world's largest closet, meet your 2 new puppies, do I get a ride in this famous life car? Yes.
Okay. I'll even let you lay in the back seat on a mink coat naked if you want. I don't care.
Yes. Okay. You guys heard it here. We'll be doing a YouTube excerpt. I want to meet Fab in person, take a ride in the car, see the 2 acres that the puppies get to run on. And since I met you, the interview was supposed to be in your closet. So that's on my bucket list. Remember, that's the only thing I have left. You're on the phone call. Because I've done everything in my whole life, but go in your closet.
Yeah.
I could fly to Houston for $5. And I'm on my way. So awesome. All right. I just love you to death. Literally, you're just so amazing. Thank you for your strength, your power. You're showing your authentic, sharing, you know, your behind the scenes stories that I didn't even know. And just, I know you've inspired probably so many people, Theresa. I mean, you're my rock star, baby. And that takes a lot.
Well, I think that's why I love YouTube so much now, because back in the days when I was a personal trainer, you know, you could really only train somebody one-on-one, you know, every hour on the hour, whatever, you know, and now I feel like being, you know,
So many.
because I was such an inspiration as a personal trainer. I was highly sought after. So now I feel like I can spread my inspiration through YouTube. I just have a bigger platform now. So.
Oh, absolutely. Instead of one to one, it's one to many. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so if you don't know her, get on a YouTube channel. She's absolutely amazing. Get your free gift. We'll list it out. I'll talk to her behind the scenes and see what else, because I know she's so generous. All the speakers and experts out on my show have been really, really generous and everything from the heart. And that seems to be the tribe that I've attracted, and that includes you. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us for this Power Hour. Wow. I have to go take a nap now. I feel like I just climbed the mountain. Oh my goodness. Get her book, read it. I can't wait for my personal copy. I'm going to fly to Houston to get mine.
There you go. There you go. You guys can find me everywhere. I'm on Instagram at Theresa.Roemer. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. I'm out there. You can find me anywhere. Google me. You'll find me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we put in world's largest closet, and there she is. My friend, my pal, my powerhouse, superwoman, Theresa Roemer. Thank you again so much, love. And that's the top of the hour. So you gave it all, and I just so appreciate you, and I adore you, and I can't wait to come see you in person and go with your voice.
Stay safe. Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Yes, you're awesome. Mwah. Bye, love.
Bye.